Are they going to get the ball up in time? Clark for the win! Yeah! She does it time and time again, the 40-piece, and walks off with the W!
Long-range shooting, but because of the defensive reactions she forces and the attention she commands on the floor. Recently, subtle moments across social media and interviews have sparked discussion about a potential connection between Caitlin Clark and Stephen Curry's inner basketball circle, particularly his shooting coach. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the conversation itself highlights a broader and more important topic: how elite shooters are defended, how that affects the quality of basketball, and what it means for the future of the WNBA. The discussion gained traction after Stephen Curry addressed the way he was guarded in a recent game. Defenders were face-guarding him nearly full court, applying constant physical pressure and limiting his freedom of movement off the ball. When asked about it, Curry explained that while part of him understands the respect behind that level of attention, there is also frustration because excessive grabbing and holding moves beyond legitimate defense and into something that disrupts the natural flow of the game. Curry's comments resonated because they described a defensive style that prioritizes restriction over skill. When defenders rely heavily on contact, grabbing, holding, and impeding movement, it becomes less about strategy and more about survival tactics. This type of coverage may slow a star down, but it also reduces the overall quality of play for everyone on the court. Caitlin Clark is uniquely positioned to understand this issue because she has experienced it consistently since entering the WNBA. From the opening games of her rookie season, opposing teams committed to aggressive perimeter defense. She was blitzed immediately, face-guarded well beyond the three-point line, and often met with constant physical contact before even initiating the offense. To be clear, not all of this defensive attention is unfair or unnecessary.
I've been saying it for years. I keep telling everybody she's the Steph Curry of women's basketball, college or pro. She is a superstar. I had the pleasure of doing an event with her on campus at Iowa a few months ago. I went there for my man Mark Shapiro, and I had a blast. She and I were on a panel together. She's a wonderful, wonderful young lady, incredibly poised, but this woman is the nation's leading scorer, averaging 31.5 points per game, shooting 40% from threes. She's hitting at least 5 three-pointers per game. She is elite. I'm telling y'all, wait till this girl gets to the WNBA. She is something special. Make no mistake about it. And I really, really, really am rooting for her. I really want to see her again have another shot at a national championship. She's my favorite player in women's basketball, period.
Victim or making officiating the centerpiece of her narrative. Instead, she has addressed specific incidents when necessary while maintaining a composed and professional public stance. That context is what made her lighthearted comment under Stephen Curry's interview stand out. When she joked about wanting to see Curry make 12 three-pointers and asked defenders to stop grabbing him, it landed differently than a typical fan comment. Coming from an elite shooter who faces the same defensive treatment, the message carried implicit understanding without escalating into confrontation. This approach reflects a mature understanding of both basketball and public perception. Rather than positioning herself against referees or opponents, Clark aligned her experience with Curry's, reinforcing a shared reality elite shooters face at every level of the game. The broader issue is not about favoritism or special treatment. Fans tune in to watch skill, creativity, and excellence. They want to see shooters move freely, find rhythm, and create moments that define games. When physical defense overwhelms those elements, the product suffers. This applies equally to the NBA and the WNBA. From a league perspective, this matters more now than ever. The WNBA is experiencing increased visibility, higher attendance, stronger television ratings, and growing commercial interest. Caitlin Clark's arrival accelerated that momentum, but sustaining it requires protecting the style of play that attracts viewers. Officiating philosophy plays a central role in that balance. Allowing physical defense does not automatically make a league tougher or more authentic. The NBA recognized this years ago and adjusted its rules to preserve movement, spacing, and offensive creativity. The WNBA now faces a similar crossroads. Another layer to this conversation is player development.
There's a part of you
Caitlin
that
is indeed
like
working with Steph Curry
fights it just because it's
during
not
the
real
offseason.
basketball.
It represents a natural
but there's also
progression
a part
rather
of it
than a
that's
headline-grabbing surprise. Curry's longevity,
Just knowing that you
efficiency, and
demand that
ability
much
to
attention
adapt
and
against
also what it
aggressive
does to create
defenses
shots
are
for
the
the
result
other
of
guys on
years
the
of
floor.
technical
So,
refinement,
and I've seen it all,
preparation,
so
and counter
I
moves.
know if that's
Caitlin
how
is
they want
already
to guard, like
regarded
how
as
I
one of the
can
most
be
dangerous shooters
effective,
in
not
women's
let them take me
basketball.
out of the game, but
Any
also
refinement in shot
kinda use it
preparation,
to our
footwork,
advantage
or
as a team.
off-ball movement could
And
elevate her
it's also
game
funny
even
at
further.
times just how
For a player who
egregious
already
it is.
bends defenses to their limit, marginal
There's one
improvements
possession I
can
gotta
create
find.
significant
actually made the
separation.
footage that actually
From a
stayed
business
back
and
in the
branding
backcourt.
standpoint, the alignment also makes sense.
A
Both
long
players
time
are
on
associated
purpose
with
to see how
redefining shooting
long,
range, drawing defensive
see how long
gravity,
stay with
and
me.
reshaping
So,
how the game is played. Both
that
are
was
central
fun.
figures for Nike and represent a style of basketball that prioritizes skill, creativity, and
Yeah,
confidence.
we both knew what we
There
were
is
doing.
also
We
a
were
cultural
having
element.
fun.
Curry has consistently supported women's basketball and emphasized the importance of role models for the next generation. Caitlin fits naturally into that vision, not only through her play, but through her composure and understanding of the game's broader ecosystem. Beyond basketball mechanics, Caitlin has also shown awareness of the league's business realities. During recent public appearances, she spoke thoughtfully about collective bargaining negotiations, emphasizing the importance of growth, sustainability, and long-term progress. Her comments reflected an understanding that player leverage is tied directly to participation, visibility, and revenue generation. That awareness matters. Caitlin's influence extends beyond the court. Her presence has driven attendance, merchandise sales, and media coverage in ways that reshape negotiations and expectations. With that influence comes responsibility, and her measured approach suggests she understands how to apply pressure without creating division. The contrast between leagues is also worth noting. The NBA often grapples with exaggeration of contact, while the WNBA struggles with undercalling legitimate fouls on the perimeter. Both extremes distort the game. The solution lies in balance, allowing physical competition without suppressing skill. As Caitlin continues to evolve as a player, the defensive pressure will only increase. That makes the conversation around officiating, development, and league direction even more important. How the WNBA responds will influence not only Clark's experience, but the future of perimeter players across the league. If Caitlin returns next season with sharper mechanics, improved counters, and enhanced conditioning, defenses will face an even greater challenge. That may force a recalibration, not just in how teams guard her, but in how games are officiated. Ultimately, this moment is less about rumors and more about direction. Elite players pushing boundaries, leagues adapting to growth, and conversations evolving without unnecessary conflict. Caitlin Clark appears to be navigating that space deliberately, improving her game, aligning with respected voices, and addressing systemic issues without turning them into distractions. That is how meaningful change happens in professional sports, through excellence, consistency, and thoughtful leadership, both on and off the court.
Another important element in this conversation is how defensive strategy evolves when a single player becomes the focal point of an entire league's attention. Historically, when a shooter reaches the level of influence that Caitlin Clark has achieved, defenses stop reacting and start pre-planning. Entire game plans are constructed not just to limit scoring, but to exhaust the player mentally and physically. This has already become visible in the WNBA. Teams are willing to sacrifice traditional defensive spacing, help coverage, and even rebounding position to ensure Clark never becomes comfortable. Guards pick her up well before the logo, bigs hedge aggressively on screens, and weak side defenders shade toward her even when the ball is on the opposite side of the floor. These are not improvised reactions, they are deliberate structural choices. While this level of attention is a sign of respect, it also raises questions about sustainability. When a league allows excessive contact as part of that strategy, it risks shifting the competitive balance away from skill-based solutions. Over time, this can discourage creativity and narrow the offensive diversity of the game. Stephen Curry faced a similar phase during the early peak of the Warriors dynasty. Teams experimented with face guarding, switching everything, trapping at half court, and even holding him off the ball to prevent movement. What ultimately forced defensive evolution was not officiating alone, but Curry's ability to adapt, relocating faster, releasing quicker, and punishing overcommitment through playmaking. That blueprint is relevant for Clark. Her passing vision has already improved at the professional level, and her ability to manipulate defenders with timing and spacing continues to grow. When defenses overextend to deny her shot, they inevitably expose vulnerabilities elsewhere on the floor. The challenge lies in converting those advantages consistently while enduring constant physical pressure. This is where coaching philosophy becomes critical. Teams built around elite shooters must embrace motion, spacing, and decision-making rather than isolating responsibility onto one player. Indiana's long-term success with Clark will depend not just on her brilliance, but on how effectively the system amplifies it. Another layer often overlooked is conditioning. Constant off-ball movement under physical pressure requires exceptional stamina. Curry's longevity has been aided by elite conditioning and meticulous attention to recovery. For Clark, adapting to the physical demands of a longer professional season is part of the learning curve. Increased defensive attention accelerates that process. The mental aspect cannot be ignored either. Being targeted every possession can wear down even the most composed players. Clark's demeanor suggests resilience, but growth in this area is continuous. Managing frustration, maintaining confidence through inefficient stretches, and resisting the temptation to force shots are all skills refined over